Welcome to Live Your Passion. I'm Alex Stephen, your host from Life Transforming Treasures. On Live Your Passion, our guests share their stories and challenges and how they embraced and overcame them. We are hoping that you could get some wisdoms from their journey to help you in your life at this time. To further this conversation, support this conversation, I have free resources on my website at alexstephen.com. My guest this morning has a very interesting story. His name is Chris Esper from Stories in Motion, and I'd like to introduce Chris and let him tell you a little bit about himself. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me, Alex.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So just tell us a little bit about who you are and your
Sure.
company, Stories in Motion.
Sure. Well, I'm based out of Attleboro, Mass. I originally was born and raised in New Jersey, and I always loved film as a young kid. Used to go to the movies. I used to go to the video store all the time and rent movies after movie and just filling my mind with all this images and information.
Yeah.
And when I was 10 years old, I had seen the movie Ghostbusters, and I loved it so much so that I thought, I'm going to write a script.
And how old were you then?
I was 10.
10.
Yeah, I was 10. So
Yeah.
I went, and I really liked science fiction and comedy. I was a big fan of Robin Williams. I still am to this day.
Yeah.
So I wrote a screenplay in that same vein of a sci-fi comedy like Ghostbusters. Excuse me. It was about a boy and his robot. And so I wrote this little script called Boy Bot. It was like only 30 pages long. And I thought, okay, I wrote this script, and I told my fourth grade friends, guys, I wrote the script. We're going to make a movie. We're going to make a movie. And all my friends were all excited, and so I thought, okay, the next logical thing to do is send it to Hollywood. I'm 10 years. I'm 10 years old. I tried to get the producer's name off the credits of the Ghostbusters movie, so I submitted the script to him, not knowing that I needed an agent. And first of all, much longer script than what I had. I mean, it was only 30 pages, so. I sent the script to this producer. I forgot what his name was, but I just wrote so-and-so, Hollywood, California, Columbia Pictures. Yeah. Sent it to them, and I think about 6 months to a year later, the envelope came back to me with return to sender stamped on it. But it didn't really deter me in any way. It just made me want to keep going.
But since you were 5, you were telling me that you like film and you like movies and you had this passion. And
absolutely.
Yeah. But how did it, I know you said you had this passion and you wanted to do it, you enjoyed doing it, but how did others react to you in terms of support? Was there support or lack of support at that time?
I think when I was 10, it was seen as, oh, it's so cute, he's playing, you know.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, people just saw it as, oh, that's cute, he loves movies, that's really nice. Yeah. And then when I got into my teenage years, I started to really do this very seriously. I tried all sorts of different art forms before I decided I'm going to go into filmmaking. I tried my hand at acting. I tried my hand at stand-up comedy, puppetry, animation, and then finally when I got my first camera and I just started to see movies more and more as an art form than just entertainment, that's when I thought, okay, I have to be a director. I had seen Raging Bull by Martin Scorsese, and he's my all-time favorite director. When I saw that film and I listened to his director's commentary and the behind-the-scenes interviews and documentaries, I was so fascinated by his passion for cinema. It was contagious, so contagious. And so I thought, that's what I have to do. I have to be a director. And so when I declared that to my family, when I said to my parents, I think I was 17, and I told my parents, I know what I want to go to school for. I want to go to school to be a filmmaker. I want to be a director. and they were happy for me, but at the same time, my father said, you know, you sure you want to do that? I mean, you know, you're not going to be able to make money the first couple of years of your life for a long while. And, you know, he thought it was just a pipe dream. Both my parents thought it was kind of a pipe dream. But then I started making these little experimental films in college with my first camera, and I really had nothing. It was all just me. I was doing everything all by myself. And so I made these little films, and this is when YouTube was starting to become a really big thing. So I would upload these movies on YouTube. I showed it to friends and family, and when they saw the films, you know, they were really raw and they really weren't even very good. But what they saw, my parents said, specifically my mother, I remember her saying to me, "You got talent, kid." And my father laughing as well. Like, that was really satisfying to know I could make my father laugh and my mother with this little silent film I made that was like kind of a tribute to Charlie Chaplin. And so that's when I thought, okay, I can do this. My friends at school, they just thought it was silly as well. You know, I think recently I saw one of my high school friends again for the first time since graduation, and he said to me, "Chris, you know, I have to tell you, I wasn't sure how you were going to how you were going to be able to make a career out of this, but I see you doing all these things. You're doing it. You're really doing it."
Yeah. But at that time, you know, before you establish yourself, and I know most people in the art forms and filmmaking, acting, the music, you know, the first thing that people who care for you say is that, you know, you're not going to make money in this. And I talk specifically because my daughter has a degree in music, a music industry from Northeastern University. And we never really told her, don't do it. We say you have to look at ways where you could market yourself, you know, when you finish school. So she did a minor in business. So, you know, she's working in that arena now. But I know firsthand how that is. But that's her love, that's her passion. So we never will really, you know, take that away from her. So at the time when you were coming up with it, you weren't established, people were looking at what you were doing. Were there anybody who were like making fun, saying, no, this will never happen, trying to burst your bubble, kids at school?
Yeah, kids in school.
So, you know, tell the audience about that, because I'm sure there are people listening or looking that's saying, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that. But at first, you don't usually get the support until you prove yourself. So if you could share with them some of those instances and some of those experiences so they know where you're coming from.
Yeah, kids in school, they saw the films, and while they did see what I was trying to do at the same time, I got teased for it. You know, I did this one film about what was supposed to be about the economy, and it was me in the film, and there was a guy in a shower. So people were making fun of the fact that I was, you know, basically naked on camera. I mean, not totally naked, but just like, I had no clothes on from the waist up. You know, I had a bathing suit on, but from the waist up, I had no clothes on, and I wanted to symbolize the economy crashing at the time. This was 2008 or 2007. So I had money raining down in the shower as opposed to water, because I really wanted to show that symbolism. And I thought it was quite clever and kind of funny. But kids in school, they thought it was supposed to be like a stripper or some sort of like really like sexual innuendo type of thing.
Oh, they took it the wrong way.
Yeah, so I got made fun of a great deal for that one, and as well as for my other films, the fact that I was in it. So that also caused me to really get a lot of low self-esteem for myself, and
low self-esteem.
Yeah, very low self-esteem and no confidence. I thought, what am I doing?
Yeah, because he wasn't getting that support.
Yeah.
But all through that, it was like a struggle, so to speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But you kept after your dream.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah. I said to myself, you know, if this is how it's going to be, and even my parents said, if this is how it's going to be, then you have to do it. You know, you're going to face worse adversity than this in the real world, and yeah, they were right. You know, and
so how did that affect your schoolwork or your social life? That sort of you know, mocking and lack of support from kids in school?
My social life, kind of, because before moving to New England, I was a very talkative person, and I used to like making people laugh. When I came to New England, I started doing these films. I became very reserved and kind of quiet, kind of shy, because I thought, okay, I'm just gonna step back and not talk.
Okay.
And so I kind of lost my confidence in that a little bit, and as far as schoolwork goes, it affected it in that I was concentrating so much on these movies and not so much my schoolwork that my grades started to lack a little bit. But so my parents were like, you know, Chris, I know you want to make movies, but you know, you can't play. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to work. You have to do your schoolwork.
So you kept being persistent. You didn't let go of your dreams.
Yeah.
You wanted to live your passion.
Yeah. Like instead of doing homework, I would be writing a script.
Yeah.
Or I would be making a puppet for a short I was doing or something.
Right.
Doing something creative.
So it sounds like your parents, I mean, cautiously were supporting you.
Oh, absolutely.
So how, you know, tell the audience how, you know, how things turned for you, how things changed. What happened? You know, what did you do, or, you know, that, you know, had this shift for you? If you could share with them, so they could have some hope with whatever they're going through in their life.
Sure. After high school, I went to college at New England Institute of Technology in Rhode Island. Studied there for 3 to 4 years, and it was a great education. It was very hands-on learning, which I really liked. I was on the camera the very first day, so it was wonderful. But even there, I mean, it wasn't a film school by definition. It was more they just offered TV and video production. And I just kind of adopted the film stuff on my own. They had some film classes, but it really wasn't. It wasn't their forte. I kind of did that myself. And you know, there were students that you know, they also wanted to make movies as well. But then after I think about a year or two later, they kind of gave up on that. I was one of the few that said, I am going to make movies.
You're going to stay in it.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with making movies. And people would tell me, Chris, what do you think? You're going to make it in Hollywood? You know, like what are you doing?
Yeah. So that was a more supportive environment versus high school, I assume. Yeah, because
it was
people same sort of like-minded, so to speak.
It was, I mean, to a degree. I mean, there were some students that again felt, you know, like, oh, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to go to Hollywood. You're going to do this and that by going to New England Tech.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I tried to tell them, you know, guys, it's not the school you go to. It's your talent. It's your passion. It's your determination.
Exactly.
You know, you could go to the greatest film school in the world or any great college in the world. It doesn't mean that that it doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't guarantee you a job. Doesn't guarantee you talent. That's within you.
And how you apply it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So you had like anyone in college now, you were in this environment where most people, some of them dropped out, but they came for the same purpose, so to speak, that really supported your dream now and try to help you.
Yeah, this changed when I met my best friend, Rich. And at the time, he was making his second feature film. It was a comedy, and he needed a couple of interns. So I applied, I got the job, and he took me on as his intern. And what started out as a simple internship blossomed into a friendship because we were so much alike. We had very similar backgrounds, very similar family life, very similar interests in film. And so he kind of took me under his wing, taught me a lot. And he was also the first person to give me that tough love I needed because up until that point, while there were some that were mocking or making fun of me, there were also those that never truly told me what I was doing right and wrong in my work.
Okay.
And so he was the first person to say, Chris, this is good, you have potential here, but maybe next time work on this and work on that. So he's the first one to give me really good constructive feedback because no one had ever done that before with me. And so it was a good learning experience, and he gave me a lot of tremendous opportunities to flesh out my potential to direct some comedy skits and direct some films. He let me use some of his actors for my own film I was doing at the time in college. Wow. So it was...
and he was one of your teachers?
Yeah, he was one of my
did
mentors.
You approach him, or did he see something in you, your talent? How did that happen?
I approached him with just an initial email, and then he liked my personality, I guess. So then he offered to meet up with me in person, and so we took a meeting one afternoon, and we just clicked right away. And now 5 years later, you know, we're best friends. He's getting married. I'm going to be in his wedding. I'm going to be shooting his wedding. You know, so it's just,
nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's good. So the point here is that you took the initiative.
Yes.
You had that passion, you had that persistence, and even though people were telling you this is not gonna work, they try to make fun of you,
Yeah.
telling you, asking you questions like, do you think you'll make it in Hollywood?
Yeah.
And my answer would have been yes, because I want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
And you took the initiative. That's what I want people to hear. You have to take the initiative and look for mentors, look for people to help you. And I've seen it in my own experience. When you ask people for help, they will not say no.
Yeah.
People willing to help you. And that's how they get to see more of your talent. Yeah. And a good point you bring up, when you ask people for help, don't expect them to be all nicey, goody-goody all the time.
Yeah.
You need that constructive criticism to grow.
Absolutely, and that's something I learned the hard way myself, because I was somebody that thought, oh, I could do no wrong, but then once I got that constructive criticism, I thought, okay, I do need to work on something. So I actually took those feelings I had about getting constructive criticism from college and from somebody like Rich or another good friend of mine, and I made a movie about it. I made a film.
Wow.
I made a film about the importance of feedback and how to get through adversity through critique and failure. And the film played rather well on the festival circuit. So it was a story people were able to identify with. So I took those negative feelings, I put it into film, and I had a premiere for it right after college, right after I graduated, and got a standing ovation. It was one of the most emotionally satisfying experience I've ever had.
So the shift was happening, shift in terms of seeing your dreams, you know, all the things you were thinking about. I know you said like 5 years old, you like movies at 10 years, you were telling your parents, and now you were seeing the shift. You were seeing evidence, it was manifested.
Yes.
So tell us about, you said you applied for the job, you got it, and you went out to the West Coast. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Sure. Well, it was through meeting Rich that I was able to meet this nonprofit organization known as the Moving Picture Institute, also known as the MPI. And the MPI is a organization that is all about promoting freedom through film and liberty. So they had worked with us on a web series I had directed for Rich called The Guy Going Crazy, and that show was very successful. And so they also have an internship program where you get to work in either New York or Los Angeles of a company of your choice, paid internship, so it was wonderful. I applied. I not only got the internship, I also got the chance to work in LA at A La Entertainment, and they were responsible for the movies Drive, Way Back, Mordecai, so many great movies. And so I was in LA for about 3 months in 2014, and that too was a tremendous learning experience. It was, I mean, throughout all these years during that shift is when I was still having issues with confidence in my work, not so much myself, but more in my work. And so being in LA was a true eye-opener because I thought, because it just built me up both on a professional and also on a personal level and helped me grow in a huge way. Yeah,
so that was, like a stamp of approval that you're on the right track, so to speak. I mean, going to LA, and how long you stayed out there?
3 months.
3 months, so that had to be pretty good.
It was good, and the challenge for me was I didn't have my immediate support system with me. I mean, I had a couple friends out there and people I had met previously when I was in LA the first time, but this time around I was alone. It was the first time I was away from home because in college they didn't have dorms in the college I went to, so I really didn't get the full college experience. So for me, this was my college experience, and my job every day was reading screenplays at the company and giving my critique and my opinion on them. And I also had to do the menial tasks such as making coffee, answering phones, things of that nature. And one would initially think, oh, that's not a job for me. I should be doing this. I'm much better than that. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to act like that. I'm going to just take this opportunity by the horns and just go for it and show them I'm very serious about this. I was told to report at 9 a.m. every morning. I showed up at 8 a.m. in the morning and I did my work. And they loved that. It proved to be beneficial for me to do that because they recommended me for more jobs. The company, and they were very, very supportive. They liked me a lot, and they called me back for more stuff, and I still keep in touch with them every once in a while. So,
so it showed your commitment.
Yeah.
I mean, showing up at 8 when you're supposed to be there for 9.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And I mean, just being out in LA is a different energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Than New England.
Yes.
And, I used to be out there a lot for work, and plus our son Larry went to school out there, and he had the same experience. Like he went to school at 17, and he never, really stayed away from home before, and he had to grow up really fast.
Yeah.
And being deaf, it was hard to communicate at that point. So there were other challenges, but he grew up very fast, being away from home. But I love LA, and
I do too. Yeah,
that's the great experience. So you share with us, how you started your love for film, and some of the struggles you went through, your persistence, the people who helped you, your parents always there to support you, and then your mentor in school, Rich.
Yes.
That was really a big turning point for you going to LA. So share with the audience a little bit, if you will, where you are now. What are some of the things you're doing now?
Sure. Well, since coming back from LA and creating more films, I decided, okay, I'm 26 years old, now I want to go full force with this. So I started my own company recently called Stories in Motion. And I call it that because for me, film and cinema is much more than just pretty pictures, and it's about what's happening underneath the surface of the story, the characters, what's going on in front of the camera, et cetera. So I call it Stories in Motion because it's exactly what it is. It's it's stories that are flowing in this beautiful thing we know as motion pictures.
Motion pictures.
So I started that, and currently I do commercials, weddings, music videos, short films, and corporate videos. Pretty much, you name it, I probably do it. And so it's been really exciting, the things I've been going on lately. I have a new short film that I'm finishing up, and I've been back into writing again for the first time in a long time. So I'm writing a couple of screenplays. I have a couple of short films that are in pre-production, and just keeping busy with a lot of good client work. And people are very happy with what I've been doing, the clients. So it gives me a lot of confidence. And film festivals. And one of the things I've been writing is actually a short book based on a video blog that I do called The Filmaker's Journey. And the book is exactly about everything I've been talking about here today. Is this career is a journey. It's it's a journey that never ends. There's a point where people ask, because I used to ask myself this all the time. Okay, when am I going to be established? When am I going to be able to say I'm good at what I do, and not question, oh, I need to learn this, I need to learn that, because that never ends. You never stop learning.
It's continuous.
It's continuous learning, and so there's never that one moment where you are. Because I always tell filmmakers that if you are perfectly content where you are, and you don't think you could go anywhere else but where you are, then
it's done.
It's done. That's it. That's it. You just written your own tombstone right there.
Yeah.
So in the book, I'm very honest about what I say, and one of the things I talk about is rejection, because rejection is a huge thing in any creative art form or field. And the thing I cannot stress enough about rejection is that you need to get a million no's before you get a yes. And the whole idea that like I've submitted to film festivals where I've gotten into 10 festivals, but I got rejected from 50 others. It's a numbers game. And so the whole idea is to just be persistent, don't give up.
You got to be persistent, keep following your dream, and that's what you did. So what are some of the things you're doing to give back, to help, people who were in your situation, and who want to pursue their career?
One of the things is I have a video vlog on my YouTube page called The Filmaker's. That's what the book is based on, The Filmaker's Journey. And my goal is to give back everything I've learned over the years, because to be honest with you, when we read biographies of our favorite filmmakers or authors, or a book, just any biographies of our idols, I never ever see the struggles that our heroes went through. We only see the the time that they became the champion, or,
Yeah, exactly.
or they done something great.
Yeah.
I want to know about the failure more than anything else.
Yeah, and people need to know that. So what they do is that's when you bridge them, their story to your story.
Exactly.
And they say, you know what?
Exactly.
I'm going through this exact same thing.
Exactly.
And that's why I tell people a little bit about, when you were in those challenging times, the obstacles you overcame and how you overcame them. Because people interested in the tools, how you overcame them.
Yeah.
How you overcame them was persistence, getting a mentor, taking the initiative, and being committed, showing up before time, not on time, before time. And that's commitment. People notice that. I can't stress enough the more the experiences I had in my corporate career and doors that opened for me, because if a meeting is 8, I'll be there at 7.
Yes.
Most of it was to beat the traffic on the Mass Pike, but that opened a lot of people noticed that, and people in the audience, need to hear that. You just don't have a dream and then you're late or you're not committed. You got to be committed. You got to be persistent.
Oh, it's true.
And you had to have some patience.
Well, I one of my favorite books that I like to read is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield.
Yeah.
And the book is about breaking out of those creative blocks to do what you love. Because I truly, truly believe that every one of us inside is an artist in some way, or is a creative, or just has a dream inside of them that they want to accomplish, but they don't do it either A, because they have a family that they have to take care of, B, their job is getting in the way, or C, they don't believe in themselves.
Right.
It's really sad when I hear about people that wake up in the morning and they hate what they do.
Yes.
And that's why I'm blessed to have the parents that I have, because my father, I remember he told me this one day. He said to me, I'm really jealous of you. I'm like, why? And he said, because you have a dream and you're not letting anything stop you.
Yeah.
And so I asked my dad, well, where's this coming from? And he said, well, I wanted to do something with my life, but my father wanted me to go to medical school. I didn't want to go to medical school, so I settled for business, but it's not really what he wanted to do.
Right.
So my father said, I want you to have what I didn't have. And so I appreciate that every day.
So you live in your passion.
Yes.
You live in your passion. So Chris, this has been great, sharing with the audience, sharing with us the challenges you went through, how you overcame, and where you are now. You're in a great place, and like you said, it's not finished. You continue growing, but you have the evidence that you're in the right place, following your dreams, following your passion, and that's great. Is there anything else you like to leave the audience with? Any nuggets or anything you like?
It's always difficult to do what you love in your life, but know that you can do it. There's people out there that support you, and there's people out there that are rooting for you. Use those people as help. Use those people as your support system, because they're there, and you can do what you love. Just be persistent and be determined.
And tell people again the name of your book that will be coming out soon. It's going to be digital?
Yes, on Amazon Kindle, on June 24th, I'll be releasing my book called The Filmaker's Journey, and you can find out all about it on my website called storiesmotion.com. I'm also on YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media platforms. Good, good. And how could people reach you if they want to reach you? Sure. My email address is info@storiesinmotion.me. That's my direct business email, and so that's how I could be reached primarily. Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks a lot. This has been great. Yeah, it's been great to be here. Yeah. One of the things I like to do on the shows when we close and out is to read quote of the day from one of my books, Inspirational Life Quotes. And today's quote is, I'll read it out, is, care about what other people think and you will always be their prisoner. Lao Tzu. And I think this is so relevant to what, if you had you really did what other people thought about you, you wouldn't have been where you are today. Well, I mean, it's a sad case of conformity. Yeah. We're often told you have to be this certain way the society wants you to be. Right. You can't be something out of the norm. So that's pretty good, pretty good. One of the things I like to do, I want to give you our book, Courage in Our Hearts, A Family's Love Story.
This is our story that we wrote. All our books on Amazon. If you go to my website again, free resources at alexstephen.com. You just hit books and you'll see our books there. They're all on Amazon. We have a couple others here, books. But I want to give you an autographed copy of my book.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me,
Thank
Alex.
you. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Again, this is Alex Stephen, your host of Live Your Passion. Thanks for joining us and see you next time.
The preceding was a production of Medfield TV, Community Shows.